Welcome back, everybody, to what is essentially dumb tweets made by embassies of the world, because this is ridiculous. I probably look like crap right now. I was working on some car stuff, and I was like, oh yeah, I probably need to go lose my faith in humanity. So here we are. So we're just going to go ahead and, before I start, last video, I kept hitting my arm on the table, and it kept making this bass noise from this thing because I don't actually have a mic boom or whatever the crap it's called, don't really care. So I'm going to not do that this time. Okay, jumping right into it. This is the Embassy of Russia, and obviously I can't read all of this, otherwise I'm going to get another strike on my channel, which would be fun. So I'm going to read certain portions of it, and then you can just use your eyes, your special eyes, to see it. We took note of lack of covering of the topic of US-funded places in Ukraine in the media, which is astounding given the urgency and importance of the matter. Experiments with dangerous things could have resulted in new ethnicity-based pandemics. Okay, so as far as I know, the current pandemic does affect everyone, right? The urgency, this is quite literally Russia virtue signaling in a time when I don't think they have a lot of virtue right now. I mean, honestly, if you look into this whole thing, it's completely screwed 6 ways from Sundays everywhere, but that doesn't really matter. What really matters right now is A, using buzzwords to describe what is being found in Ukraine really just kind of decreases the impact of what's been found. And I mean, I gotta put it this way. What country is going to actually show the bad things that they could potentially be doing? I look at Russia and its citizens. I believe it was Arnold Schwarzenegger who just put out something basically describing to the Russian people what's actually going on. If they're gonna pay attention to that or not, who knows? But basically telling them what's going on with all this because they're being lied to by their government. So the moral of the story is everything is screwed. It doesn't really matter. But when you do this, I don't think this is the move. Anyways, moving on to the next one. We have more people who believe that urine is going to cure all of our problems. Urine is a living food. Urine is not waste like we've been lied to, but ultra-filtered blood plasma that has all critical antibodies, stem cells, minerals, salts, hormones, proteins, enzymes, vitamins, etc. to heal you from any illness. So it's really disturbing how many people think that urine is like the thing to fix everything. Not to mention, if it truly was, you think why would it matter that anybody tells us urine's bad, right? If urine was such a good thing, wouldn't our bodies just keep it? We would have evolved a way to keep that precious fluid, apparently, because it's just perfect. It feeds us, it gives us stem cells, blah, 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 whatever they're making up. I don't know why these people are so obsessed with urine, but it's a waste. It is a waste byproduct. Now, in emergency situations like Bear Grylls, you can drink your urine, I think, up to 2 times. But after that, there's so much waste in there that you're actually hurting yourself. And if I recall, I think it can do kidney damage if you keep drinking it. So, no, it's not ultra-filtered blood plasma. It's your blood plasma that filters, and then it filters out waste material. Ooh, God. Okay. And on to the next one. This one's not any better. This is a menstrual sea sponge. It is a gentle, cruelty, and toxin-free tampon alternative. The sea sponge is alive. So, I mean, that was the whole big thing back in the day when they took, you'd use natural sea sponges as a way, oops, just hit my mic, there we go. You would use natural sea sponges as a way to kind of take a shower, with soap and water. And then they started making synthetic sponges because you actually have to harvest sea sponges, which kills them, to do this. How is this cruelty-free? And not to mention, I hate to tell you, but the ocean, because humans are, we pollute all the time, it's very toxic. I mean, it can be toxic. There's radioactive material, there's microplastics, there's just bacteria and viruses in there anyways, and guess what actually has all that filtering through it? Sea sponges. I swear, people just grab stuff from nature and they're like, oh, it's natural, so it must be good. Yeah, you know what? Well, spider venom's also natural, and it can make a limb fall off, so I don't really get this. Okay, moving on to the next. Is it too late to have your first child at the age of 35? Yes. Most women cannot have children after the age of 28, which is a lie. But this guy's name is first name, bunch of numbers, so we already know what's going on with that. But I will say this, no, it's not too late to have a child at 35. What happens is women are born with all the eggs that they're going to have, right? So as time goes on, that egg count decreases. And then eventually, I believe the last bit of eggs that you have aren't necessarily in the best condition because they've been around for so long. So that's when you can kind of get genetic issues start arising with a child. But I mean, I had a stepmom back in the day. She had a kid at like 41. It's my little sister. So, and I mean, you know, she's my little sister. So obviously I have to say something's wrong with her. But I mean, technically speaking, there's nothing wrong with her. So yeah, no, you could definitely have children after 35, and it's not just like a switch that shuts off at 28. So you still have, like, before you go into menopause, you can have children. Now, the older you get, the more dangerous it gets, or the less, or the more likely, that you might have genetic issues or stillbirths or things like that. But yeah, you can definitely have a kid after 28. Consider this. When a male ejects a seminal fluid, it brings about a male period, equivalent to that of the premenstrual syndrome in the female period. Now, this is something I hadn't looked into before, because I never really heard such crap in my life. I guess that's why I never really looked into it. But it brings about the male period. So I think what they're talking about is you're flushed with hormones afterwards. You definitely get a dopamine hit from it. Which, you know, can definitely have like a feel good and a calming effect and all that stuff. But no, so female periods are like cycles, right? That's how it goes. I think you've beaten your meat and then ejecting seminal fluid, it does not give you that same type of cycle. I mean, no, we're just moving on. Okay. I sometimes forget what I get, or what I pick from these just dumb tweets. Can indecision cause hemorrhoids? Only if that indecision is, should I wipe my ass? Can low self-esteem cause chronic pain? Poor posture, maybe? Can feeling ugly cause acne? Maybe, because you're rubbing your face, I don't know. For example, when you experience a shock of not being able to make a decision and you are concerned about making the right choice, your body responds by eroding the surface mucosal tissue of your rectum. The ancient biological way your body is attempting to help you is to widen your rectum so that it's easier for you to stake your claim and make your choice. What? I didn't read this part. Even though as evolved Homo sapiens, we don't go around urinating and defecating on things to establish our identity and ownership, our body's language is ancient and instinctively remembers the good old complete nonsense. Okay. This person is dangerously wrong. Eroding the surface mucosal tissue of your rectum. What purpose would that serve just because you can't make a decision? Oh man, should I go to Wendy's or should I go to McDonald's? Uh-oh, looks like my surface mucosal tissue of my rectum's now eroding. What? How do you even come to this conclusion? Where? Let me gather my thoughts here. Let me take a breath. I don't think I've ever quite read something so ridiculous in my life. How does widening your rectum make it easier for you to stake your claim? Okay, I can't do this one. I guess she's talking about taking a dump. That's the only thing I can figure. And that's staking your claim, because if you take a dump somewhere, you own that place. I guess she's it's like a dog taking a dump, right? I would love to live in somebody's head like this for probably 4 minutes, because after that, I'm sure I would just be absolutely completely confused. But it's just the leaps and bounds people make. But God help her. That is quite the statement. I have a period and it has nothing to do with the moon. You obviously have no education on the topic. Well, this person probably doesn't either. You probably don't even know your own body. What, are you 15? This information has been taught for hundreds of generations. Take a seat. I love when people say take a seat and they're so unequivocally wrong. It's like, well, perhaps you should be taking that seat from them. Maybe you shouldn't tell people to take a seat if you don't know anything. Periods happen pretty much whenever. Now, what she's trying to equate it to is the moon is tidally locked with Earth, and it takes almost a month for it to revolve around the Earth. So a lot of people were like, oh, well, you know, when the moon's here, women are having their periods, yada, yada, yada. That's just not reality. It happens, like, at any time, right? It's not based on the freaking moon. Like, every single day, some women's period is starting, some women's period is stopping. It's like, again, sex education is important, but just because something's taught for hundreds of generations, which I don't even think it is hundreds of generations, because we're only 100, well, I guess we're technically a 300,000-year-old species, so maybe it is hundreds of generations, but whenever this came about, it definitely doesn't mean it's right. I mean, germ theory only came about just like, what, 150? Just off the top of my head. Like years ago, it's definitely, yeah, it's probably about 150. And that doesn't mean beforehand everything we thought was correct. We thought the Earth was the center of the solar system for a long time. But now we know the sun is. Saying something was taught for hundreds of generations doesn't give you any backup in saying that it's correct. What it means is you're probably wrong and you just don't know how to either take that L or just look up to see if what you're saying is correct. So apparently a 15-year-old knows more than you. Just throwing that out there. Okay, this one, let's see here. Wait, is this the same one? Oh my God, it's the mucosal tissue rectum woman. Okay, so you know it's gonna be a good one. Medical doctors should be outraged. All that time, all that money, all that school, and you didn't even learn how the body works. Rockefeller Medicine taught you bullshit to shill their petroleum-based pharmaceuticals. Prescribing drugs is not healthcare. Well, it is. I hate it for you. There's a lot of bacteria out there, for instance, that I've worked with that your body will not clear on its own. 100%. It's not going to happen. So what do? Oh, well, you take some antibiotics, boom, goes away. That's why we have antibiotics. You could be the healthiest person in the world, still get MRSA. That stuff happens. So I think doctors should definitely talk about the benefits of eating healthy, working out, you know, drinking water and stuff, but the reality of the situation is that only carries you so far. Prescribing drugs and actually medications in general are things that we developed as a society because they work. They're effective. They're useful. They're tools that we can use to basically ward off death in a lot of situations. So yeah, prescribing drugs is definitely healthcare. And then we got another one from her. Have you ever started hanging out with people and begin to speak like them? Basically picking up, what's it called? Dialect? And pick up their mannerisms. Yes, it's because humans are social creatures, and that's how we bond. That's all the contagion is. Okay. It's not a particle. It's co-regulation. It's harmonizing. Harmonizing? There we go. If I vibe with you, I get sick with you. If you vibe with me, you get healthy with me. But what? What if you're vibing with them and you get sick, and then they're vibing with you back? Do they get sick or healthy? Are they taking your vibe? What the hell's a vibe? No one really knows because this person, I seriously doubt, is a doctor. How is this person a doctor? No way this person is. No. I don't think you could make it through medical school legitimately unless this person's like a chiropractor. Well, actually, you know, I hate to tell her, but a contagion it can be a particle. I mean, technically we're all made of particles, but a contagion is an organism, typically. Virus, yeah, you don't really know. Prions, for instance, it's not really an organism, it's just protein. But this has nothing to do with you vibing with somebody. You can absolutely still get sick from anything. If you hang around a organism that is capable of infecting your body, or I guess I said an organism, infecting your body. If you hang around it long enough and you don't have any immunities to it, you're going to catch it. That is just the reality of the situation. So vibing with somebody, again, why is it when, why doctor, when you vibe with them, do you get sick? But if they vibe with you, they get healthy. I'm pretty sure if they're vibing with you and you're telling them this crap, you're just leading them to their doom. So, definitely not wanting to vibe with that person. Okay. Blaming music is such a tired take and removes the accountability from the person that committed the crime. Music didn't make them pull the trigger and decide that another person's life didn't matter. Well, music is low-key the problem because it's vibrational and fucks with the wavelength of people's brains. I could be wrong, though. Could be wrong, though. Indeed, you are. So, my man up here is making a good point. People have always blamed art for every type of terrible thing that's ever happened. People are blaming video games right now. Back in the day, people blamed plays. They blamed books. They literally blamed art. They always do this. And it's because it's the easiest thing to do. But it's been proven false every single time because it just doesn't make people do things. Now, what I believe the second person's talking about is if you listen to, classical music when you're like studying, or things like lo-fi, because it's calm and has a rhythmic pattern, they've said it can help focus brainwaves. Now, I'm not 100% certain if that's true, but it did help me studying to get my degree. But listening to hard rock, listening to the Ancient Gains Doom Eternal soundtrack, which will get you pumped to go to the gym. Yeah, I mean, that can have some impacts, but it's not like, oh, after the fact, I'm going to need to go do terrible things to people. It's just like, it's done. When you're done listening to it, your brain just goes back to normal patterns. But even then, it doesn't have that monumental of an impact either. So, I appreciate this person saying I could be wrong, though, but it doesn't matter because you are wrong. Okay, and we're going to wrap this one up with this one because I'm really glad to see this person made a recovery. It's true, I picked up SIDS as a baby after something and still suffer from it 40 years later. So if you don't know what SIDS is, it's sudden infant death syndrome, where it's basically no idea what happened, you just woke up one night and your child was gone, which is a terrible thing to happen. But I'm glad to see 40 years later, this dude is still pumping out tweets because he somehow managed to recover. Hallelujah, there is a God. Anyhow, I want to thank you guys for watching. If you enjoy, leaving a like would be great. Subscribing is a great way to stay up to date when I post, all that nonsense, yada, yada, yada. I'm starting to get more comfortable with these things. I hope you're enjoying them. Apart from that, y'all have a good weekend. I should have a video out, and I don't want to overwhelm my editor, but, we'll just... I think this one should be out maybe, I don't know. We'll see when this will be out. It doesn't matter. Anyways, thanks for watching, y'all, and I'll see y'all in the next one.